there. I'm about ready to go, I believe. Getting some last second things settled here. Hello, everyone out there. Hope you all are having a great Saturday afternoon. Feel the music. The music fade and the music down. There we go. All right. There we go. Let me see. Doing this, doing that, double checking this, double checking that. Yes, today is a throwback of sorts. My live stream, what I originally wanted to do, when was it? I wanted to do this some time ago on May 25th, real Star Wars Day. What was it? A week or so ago? Well, almost 2 weeks ago at this point. But that's about how long I've been without internet. Like my internet access, there was like an outage right before the 25th, so I wasn't able to do my Star Wars comic book stream. Let's see. I want to thank you all for joining me, whether you're live, you're lurking, or you catch me on replay. And the chat. I see people are joining me. Hello, everyone. First out of the gates is Tina. Hello there. Followed by Melted Copper. Hello there. You're just here with just here for the cats. Yeah, they may wake up and chime in. There are times I'm live streaming and I think to myself, maybe my mic didn't pick that up. Maybe my mic didn't pick that up. Then from another part of the house is a large, loud meow, and I think to myself, yeah, my mic probably picked that up, but nothing I can do about it. Let's see here, getting things settled. Dun, dun, dun. Got a little bit of everything here. Might as well kick things off. Let me see what it says. I want to do this, and then I'll kick this on. Aha! So yeah, while today is going to be primarily comic books, I will start off the show with, say, honorable mentions of the printed word. Now, what Star Wars fan doesn't have at least a handful of novels and whatnot, like Splinters of the Mind Eye, maybe some movie novel adaptions. Splinter of the Mind Eye, that will come in later because that will be tied to my graphic novel of the stream. I'm going to set these aside because what today is all about is as soon as I find a spot to put these, because my desk is a clutter. The area around my desk is a clutter. I carelessly put those right off to the side. And of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, you probably have a few technical manuals. It's always fun to breeze through some technical manuals. Okay, as I get a quick drink here of water and bump into the microphone boom arm. Let's see. Let's dive right into the subject of today's Saturday comic book stream. Oh, goodness. Celebrating Star Wars in comic book form going way back to my childhood. I have an unfortunate incomplete run of Star Wars comic books, but these are still fun to breeze through because you want to know where it all started. It was right here. Star Wars first issue, Marvel Comics, and glorious newsprint. And this is a little protective, some kind of cotton fiber sheet, archival sheet. I bought a pack of these because I was looking for something to help preserve old comic books, to kind of remove the smell and keep them from mildewing and whatnot. So I found a bunch of these that were the same size as old comic books. They're like some kind of cotton fiber, something or other, is supposed to be absorbent and help preserve the pages and whatnot. So, all right. Reading the who, the what, and the what for, we have across the top here Star Wars, adapted from the George Lucas film, a 20th Century Fox release. And Stan Lee presents. I'm going to have to take a closer look at this. Roy Thomas doing the scripting and editing. Howard Chaykin, the illustrating. Jim Novak, the lettering. Adapting the greatest space fantasy of all, Star Wars. 1977, well, July 1977, Volume 1, Number 1. Nice large print. I don't even need a magnifier to read that, so that's always nice. Nice art. Wonderful tactile feel of newsprint. Not to mention that old comic book smell that comic books have. Those wonderful cheesy ads you find in comic books from the 70s and 80s. Pretty funny to look at how these characters are portrayed in comic book form as opposed to the actors who portrayed them on the big screen. Like, depending on which artist is doing the artwork, it's like, well, that doesn't really look like Luke Skywalker, but no, it is what it is. Fabulous first issue. Once I get these pages set back right and put this guy right on the front page. Oh, and I reach over and grab a Mylar bag. I mean, this is a piece of history right here. Nerd culture, nerd history. We're talking about a movie that single-handedly changed the sci-fi cultural landscape. And in comic book form, it was awesome because we got to see not only all the characters. So I jumped from issue 1 to issue 4. There's 5. I skipped. I don't have 2, 3, and 4. So that's on my future purchase list. There's issue 5. There's issue 6. Issue 6, I think, was the what was it? The final issue? Yeah, the final chapter in adapting the movie. December 1977. So yeah, it was great. Not only could we go to the theaters and watch the movie, we would go home and read and reread and reread the comic books over and over and over again. And as you can tell by the state of them, these books, oh man, I didn't care about keeping them in mint condition. I just wanted to enjoy them. You can see the state that they are in. So we got all that. Oh, we also have Star Wars #1 king size annual. It says 1979 across the top there. The Long Hunt. And I've got the little protective pages in it as well, or these little cotton fiber pages, supposed to remove the mildew and smell and stuff. But this is wonderful art. You're getting an expansion of the Star Wars universe. Oh, ROM, Space Knight. New electronic action toy, ROM. These wonderful ads that take you back. So yeah, that is the Star Wars king size annual. I'm going to be putting some of these, well, all of these, in brand spanking new Mylar bags. Actually, I already had them bagged and boarded. I just popped them open to be able to share the wonderful artwork in them. Talk about a time to be alive back then. You had one of the greatest movies ever to come out. Then you have all these wonderful comic books. Let's see, where am I going to place this? My computer room is a clutter. I have very little floor space, but I'm going to have to get organized. All right, well, anyway, I'm going to set this right there. Issue 5. You can see these are well worn, well read. That's where they get ready. They're on Yavin. They're ready to take off and face off against the Death Star. So I'm going to be kind of sharing the Marvel run. I think if I have time, I will get into some of the other comic books like the Dark Horse era of Star Wars. What's really interesting is the storylines that these carried on between the first Star Wars movie and then Empire Strikes Back. The writers had free reign to develop storylines, story arcs, the characters, where they're headed, and you get some really wonderful cover art. I mean, just look at that alone. Following the events of the first movie in comic book form, the characters are still having to face off against the Empire and Darth Vader. And then with Here's issue 39, beginning the official comics adaptation of the most eagerly awaited space fantasy of all, The Empire Strikes Back. And again, well worn, well read. Oh goodness, I may have to buy another copy of this, just to have it in better shape. But it's the sort of thing you just don't care about keeping a book in good condition. You want to read it. You want to look at the art. You want to feel nostalgic, especially when you get older and think about a better, simpler time. I say that the pages have done come out there. I don't know what these books are worth. It doesn't matter to me. It's nostalgia. It's going back and it's just going back and reliving that period of time. Seeing these in a theater. It says bonus pinup section. So I was like, well, you might have been intended to remove that and stick it on your wall with a push pin. And here I am just breezing through this already thinking like, it's just the waves of emotion, really. You think about it, it's like a bit of your childhood. Everything just comes rushing back. So yeah, I don't have a complete run. I have like a little list of issues to complete my run of Marvel Star Wars here. Issue 43, continuing the official comics adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back. At last, the incredible conclusion of the official comics adaptation, issue 44. Then we get some wonderful storylines coming between Star Wars, Empire, and then between Empire and Return of the Jedi as the characters go on their own adventures. Not just the main characters, but you get the secondary and side characters, background characters. You get a lot of wonderful story development, plot development. And here's the supersized Star Wars Saga Giant 50th Collector's Issue. And we got The Last Jedi here. I don't remember that much about this, but I want to say that there's probably a safe bet that this issue, called The Last Jedi, is leagues better than the movie that also shares the name Last Jedi. But again, keeping with this wonderful newsprint, wonderful artwork. I forget all the stories. I'm going to have to go back and maybe find these in digital format and just reread them from start to finish. I believe some of this deals with I think this particular story was a Luke and Leia centered storyline, if I remember right. Trying to remember the specifics. Yeah, it's been so long ago. It's like, all right, this is better artwork because uh, the characters here actually look like the actors. That actually looks like Han Solo. So I've got these. I was reading up on these particular runs and some interesting things I came across as I was reading up on kind of the history of Marvel Star Wars. Where was it? Okay. I'm looking at starwars.fandom.com, kind of a Star Wars Wikipedia. The Marvel Star Wars series of comic books was the first ever comic book series created for the saga. It spanned 107 issues with 3 special annual issues. The series was relatively long running, lasting from 1977 to 1986. The series was such a smash hit for Marvel and an otherwise dismal sales year that many who worked at Marvel in 1977 considered it to have single-handedly saved them from financial ruin. So again, you want to talk the impact of Star Wars, not just in the film industry, but in the comic book industry as well. We're looking at something that saved a Marvel Comics at that time. Let's see. I thought I'd come across a quote from a publisher. Continuity. A quote from Alan Kosh, as he says, we have what we call canon, which is the screenplays, novelizations, and other core works that are directly tied into the continuity. And then there are a lot of marginal things like the old Marvel comics that we don't really try to work into the continuity when we're planning new projects, which is a shame because if anybody ever if anybody was ever adapt these books into say a continuous TV series, you could have a really wonderful weekly TV series. I mean, just in these 107 books alone, if you did like say a comic or two per episode, you could have something that could run on for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 seasons. And if you did it faithfully and were respectful of the franchise, the property, I imagine it would be really, really successful. I mean, that gets into the whole discussion of how is the property handled today with Disney Star Wars. Something I really don't like talking that much about because honestly, I get kind of tired of discussing Disney Star Wars and how they're handling Star Wars as a franchise. I mean, we all know if you're a fan of Star Wars, especially if you're an old school fan of Star Wars, you probably have more than a few complaints, gripes regarding Disney's handling of the franchise. I mean, if Star Wars as a franchise ever had a future beyond Disney, it would have to be Disney either selling the property, just somebody coming along with boatloads and boatloads of money to wrest it away from Disney's control, and then to hire people, writers, to actually work on these storylines, adapt the comic books and the Timothy Zahn novels, and give us what we really want. The fans, what the fans really want, not what Disney wants. Because right now we're seeing what Disney wants to give us. My last live stream on Wednesday night, I went on quite a bit about the subject matter of Star Wars and how it was being handled. And if you're in the boat of Star Wars is dead, I gave quite a few good alternatives to fill that Star Wars hole in your entertainment. I don't know what you call it. Field. Your need for entertainment. And if you're tired of Disney Star Wars, you're wanting something new. There's a lot of new and old TV shows and movies out there that can take the place of Disney Star Wars. The best thing that can fill or replace Disney Star Wars is old Star Wars, classic Star Wars, especially if you've never read any of these older comics, if you've never seen them. I'm sure they're out there in digital form, depending on which website you go to and whatnot. Of course, there's a whole EU, the expanded universe or extended universe, novels, comic books. Dark Horse had a really good run with Star Wars. Here I am just rebagging these. Let me see. There was something else I saw that was pretty interesting in. Oh, here it is. Here it is. The history of Star Wars and comic books. This is going back to starwars.fandom.wikipedia. In the late 70s, Marvel Comics president Stan Lee was approached by Charles Lippincott to produce a Star Wars comic book as a promotion. Lee was highly reticent with the proposal for the project, considering the film was still in production, until his protege, Roy Thomas, persuaded him otherwise. Even then, Lee, citing the poor sales history of comic book adaptations, negotiated a quota of 100,000 copies be sold before any royalties to Lucasfilm could be discussed. The resulting series turned out to be a smash success in 1977 after prodding by Roy Thomas, as well as burgeoning success like burgeoning successes like the Uncanny X-Men and Daredevil. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief of Marvel from 1978 to 1987, would later say in an interview regarding the importance of Star Wars to the plight of the company. And here is his quote, as he's quoted as saying, "Star Wars single-handedly saved Marvel and kept us alive. The only downside was that 100,000 quota was surpassed quickly, allowing Lippincott to renegotiate royalty arrangements from a position of strength. So you want to talk about the cultural impact Star Wars had? I mean, just think about it. If it wasn't for, say, the Uncanny X-Men, Daredevil, and Star Wars, would Marvel be around? It probably would still be around, but it wouldn't be, say, I guess it's open to speculation. Like, if it wasn't for Star Wars, where would Marvel Comics be today? If it wasn't for Star Wars, that is a very cool cover. If it wasn't for Star Wars, where would sci-fi entertainment be today? Oh, we'd still have movies and TV shows, but we wouldn't have had anything with the same level of impact as that first Star Wars movie. I mean, I can't think of anything that comes even remotely close in a theater as that first Star Wars movie. I mean, I don't even think there'll be anything in the future to even rival that. Between Star Wars 1977 and then what was it? Jaws 1975. Those two movies alone created the summer blockbuster trend. I already have a little list of the back issues I need to complete my set here. I just wanted to pull these issues out of the Mylar bags and kind of share them with everybody. And I just really wanted to kind of go down memory lane. Mylar bags really make everything pop. I mean, the colors, the artwork. If you're ever reboarding your comic book collection, I really recommend getting Mylar over those cheap poly bags, especially if you've got books you care about. Okay. Let's see here. There's the other handful of Star Wars books I have. I have going all the way up to issue 93. Then after that, I think I don't know. I might have like grown up and started working. So I was like, okay, no time for comic books. There's issue 54. Issue 55. Oh, issue 56. I remember this particular storyline because this was a fun storyline. This was between Empire and Return of the Jedi, where Lando Calrissian goes back to Bespin City, finds it largely deserted because I guess the Empire took it over and controlled it for a while, and then they kind of just abandoned it. Then you got Lobot, who apparently went crazy. Let's see, there's 55. We got some stuff going on there. This is a particularly good storyline because you get to a point where Lando comes across a lone Imperial officer who makes his way back to Bespin City. I can't remember. It was either like they were there looking for something, like I don't know, treasure map. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but they were both there looking for the same thing. They both square off and go, well, we could like shoot each other, or we could like work together, stop rampaging Lobot, fix his computer problems because he's like has some kind of faulty programming. And then they fix that. Lobot goes back to normal. You got battle on Bespin. Spacewalk, Death Walk, where the Rebel fleet has this strange super shielding that allows the fleet to hide essentially on the surface of a sun. If something goes wrong, of course, and it's up to C-3PO and R2-D2 to save them. You got all these little side adventures that would really work in a TV series. That is a very cool cover. I could see these adapted on the small screen. Do it justice. Luke Skywalker, Pariah. I mean, this is the height of when covers really told a story. Boba Fett again. I don't remember, but I want to say somewhere along here they might have gotten into the Mandalorians. I don't remember. Star Wars 76. Aha! Hello there, Gap After Dark. Hello there. How are you doing today? This is a pretty good storyline. This has something to do with Lando Calrissian having to go into has to go in disguise to go into the bounty hunter realm. Something about him having to track down Han Solo, but he's having to find information some bounty hunters might have as well, going by memory. Gap saying, doing good. How about you? Look at those awesome Star Wars comics. Yes, I'm doing a late Star Wars day. I wanted to do this live stream on May 25th, the real Star Wars day. But of course, having an internet outage for like a week kind of hampered that. So here I am making up for it. 86. Yeah, I jumped from issue 86 to issue 93. Then between issue 93 is 93 to 107. Then the series ends at 107. But this is just a wonderful. Look at that. The wrong place for Hunted Heroes is Hunter's World. Love these old covers. Genuine works of art. The later issues I own are in much better shape because I believe it's like I got to a point where I say much better shape, except for where this is torn up. I think I started taking care of my comic books a little bit better in the late 80s, mid 80s. That's a pretty cool cover issue right there. Great cover art. I'm going to have to go, like I said, go back, find these in digital form, and just reread them. But it would be up to somebody besides Disney to bring Star Wars back, real Star Wars. All right, so 51. Oh, I have to retape that one. Oh well, I'm gonna do that later. 50, which I've already forgotten what all these storylines were. I have like vague recollections of them. Some of them are like revolving around C-3PO and R2-D2, Droid World, Probe Droid, the last adaptation issue of Empire Strikes Back, all the nostalgia right here. Trapped in an Imperial stronghold, a princess alone. Some of these would really make neat posters. Those would make a pretty cool poster. Issue 12. And going back in time, issue 10. There's 5. And where it all started. Number 1. The greatest space fantasy film of all, Star Wars. Marvel's epic official adaptation of the monumental 20th Century Fox movie, a film by George Lucas. And then the only Star Wars annual I own. Very cool stuff. All right, so I'm going to set these aside, and let's see, how am I doing on time? Got a busy late afternoon and evening, so I may not make it to 4, but I will. Let's see, I'll touch on some other things. I've got some nice Dark Horse comics I'll share it with as well. I'm going to set these back in the comic book box. Yeah. All right. Yep. Getting everything put back in the short box. How's everybody doing today? Anybody have happy memories of Star Wars and this late Star Wars Day live stream? Feel free to chime in. Have you ever collected any Star Wars comic books? Let's see here. Okay. All right. I've got another. Now let's see. Where do I want to go to next? Graphic novels. I'll save the graphic novels toward the end. The next batch of Star Wars. This was Dark Horse, Dark Empire. Gap After Dark. Yes. Happy Star Wars memories indeed. Yes. Let me pull up the Dark Empire page here. There we go. I am looking off of the Wikipedia page for the Dark Horse Comics Dark Empire 1. And I believe I have 2 as well. Yep, there's Dark Empire 2. Then here's the Hero Magazine special. Gap After Dark saying, I watched Phantom Menace yesterday, and later on the day I'm going to watch Attack of the Clones and go all the way through until Return of the Jedi. 1 film a day. That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting. We can look back at the prequels with fondness now because in retrospect, they actually weren't all that bad. And sad comparison to what Disney is giving us today. All right, let me see here. Dark Empire plot. All right, according to the Wikipedia, 6 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, the Millennium Falcon leads a rebel task force to Coruscant. Han, Leia, Chewbacca, and C-3PO are headed to the planet to rescue Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, and Lando Calrissian, who have spent the past several days holding out against Imperial attacks after an earlier raid using the captured Star Destroyer Liberator goes awry and the warship crashes. Oh, Gap After Dark saying, I have not watched the sequels to Star Wars after I heard all the stuff, but part of me thinks I should go look, but I think I'll be mad anyway. Uh Honestly, if you want to skip the Disney sequel trilogy, you're not missing anything. I've watched them all, unfortunately, and it's like, that's nice. That's a nice little slap to the face of the old school Star Wars fans. Yeah, see, the rebels successfully rescue the survivors, but a massive energy storm appears. Luke sees the storm as a large disturbance in the Force and asks everyone to leave him behind. He lets himself be devoured by the storm. Yes, that's it right there. The task force returns to the rebel fleet and the Dashushka system. Oh, these names. Rebel commanders discuss the appearance of the Imperials coming out of the deep core and discover that Admiral Akbar's homeworld of Mon Calamari is now under attack by a fleet of Imperial war machines. Could be, I guess, this issue here. Called the World Devastators, the machines are designed to convert everything in their path into raw materials for building more war machines on the spot. Wow. Lando leads another task force with a second captured Star Destroyer, leading a charge and to aid in Mon Calamari's defense. Yeah, from what I remember, this whole thing deals with Luke going to the dark side, kind of discovering the secrets of the dark side to overcome it. And then they discover that the Emperor is alive and well. This is another thing I'm going to have to go back and reread because I really don't remember that much about this. As the Wikipedia continues to say, meanwhile, Luke awakes from the light of the Force storm and finds out he is aboard an old Imperial prison ship headed to Biss. Yeah, Gap After Dark saying they just call it the Bob system. The Bob system. The ship docks, and Luke is closely escorted to a chamber where he is stunned to see Emperor Palpatine alive. The Emperor explained that he had revived himself in a clone body and makes Luke doubt any attempt to kill him, knowing he will quickly manifest in another clone. Sensing the futility and seeing the horror of what is happening on Mon Calamari, Luke humbly surrenders to becoming the Emperor's new apprentice. So I see that right there. Leia has visions of Luke being pulled to the dark side of the Force and wants to travel to Biss and save him. She and Han travel to Nar Shaddaa and try to arrange a ship to bring them past the Biss security network. Han reunites with smuggler friends Shug Ninsk, Sala Zen, and Maka Spence to make it happen. They hook up with old friends. They get sold out to bounty hunters, hence Boba Fett, and I guess IG-88 and others. Let's see. I'm just skipping paragraphs here because I don't want to read all of this. No. Let's bust this open and share some of the artwork. Han's group travels to Mon Calamari as rebel commando forces lay siege to the world devastators, which have been shut down by a special master code Luke was able to steal and give to R2 and C-3PO for transmission to the machines. The Imperials above the machines still have the factories running and attack the rebels. R2 rigs the world devastators to destroy each other. Rebels celebrate on Mon Calamari, so and so on. Palpatine creates a large force storm to destroy the rebel fleet, but Leia and Luke work together to amplify the storm beyond the Emperor's power and turn it against him. The siblings escape the Doom warship, and as Luke sees the last remnants of the Eclipse being vaporized, he declares the Jedi Knights will rise again. So, Star Wars, Dark Empire, number 1 of 6, Dark Horse Comics. Tom Veitch doing the writing, Cam Kennedy doing the art, Todd Klein doing the lettering, Barbara Kessel, the editor, Dave Dorman, cover artist. So cover art by Dave Dorman. And the art looks really good. Now, for those of you who have watched Disney's sequel trilogies and have an extreme dislike for them, you're probably looking at these issues as well, thinking what could have been. What could have been if Disney just simply took this and adapted it in movie form. But no, we didn't get that. Disney didn't want to give us that. Disney wanted to decanonize everything and give us what they wanted to give us. That's issue 1. So that was all of Dark Empire 1 right there. That's a pretty neat cover with Leia also having a lightsaber. New clone bodies for Palpatine. It's interesting. They cherry pick story elements and plot devices from the comic books and the novels, everything Disney didn't want to touch, and decided to work it into the terrible movies that they gave us. Star Wars Dark Empire 2, which I remember very little about, but it's by the same people that brought us Dark Empire 1. All right. So skipping down the Wikipedia page here. With Emperor Palpatine apparently perishing aboard the Eclipse, more worlds defy Imperial edicts, especially those that have been recently reconquered. One of those is the arms manufacturing planet Balmorra, whose planetary governor, Beltane, has begun supplying the rebels with the latest military vehicles, such as the Viper X1 Automaton, a war droid designed to convert energy from enemy laser fire into power for its own turbo laser cannons. Huh, that sounds neat. Open this up. I'll have a look at the artwork here. Much shinier, spiffier paper. This is not the old newsprint of the old school comics from a bygone era. I think it does, in a way, aid the artwork because you have cleaner, whiter paper. The artwork is benefited by that. Let's see. Let's see. More heroes doing death-defying, heroing stuff. Then apparently there was a third series after Dark Empire 1 and Dark Empire 2, something called Empire's End, which I unfortunately do not have. Let's see, this is the Hero Magazine special. The Dark Empire is back. Let's see. Skipping down a few paragraphs on the Wikipedia entry for Dark Empire 2. Let's see. Lando leads the rebel infiltration into Biss and start the attack when the Viper droids are offloaded. The droids prove superior to existing Imperial defenses until Palpatine, back once again, releases an army of dark side mutated monsters on the attackers. Don't you hate that when that happens? The Vipers, which are attuned against energy attacks, are cut to shreds under the monster's maulings. On New Alderaan, Leia prepares for the birth of her third child as Han and Chewie attempt to rendezvous with Lando's group. Luke's party arrives with grim news. He had reached Da Sucha to see a large missile appear and destroy the planet. With the Rebel Alliance command presumably killed, he uses the time to train the Yasana siblings as Cam and some person whose name I can't pronounce practice their Jedi skills as well. Unknown to them, Palpatine's dark side elites have tortured a rebel pilot and revealing the location of New Alderaan. Palpatine sees this as an opportunity to capture the Skywalker siblings and Leia's offspring in one fell swoop. The Darksiders attempt to poison Luke, but Vima saves him as the entire settlement goes into action to fight the Imperials. In the course of the fighting, Jem is killed and Rafe saves Leia's twins from being kidnapped. The Millennium Falcon and Lando's forces arrive to defeat the Imperial assault, then evacuate the New Alderaan survivors. I mean, just reading over just a few little sentences of the plot synopsis, I can just imagine what could have been if these had been adapted into a weekly TV show. I mean, this is more plot than you could cram into a 2-hour movie, or even 3 2-hour movies. Let's see. Anyone remember Hero Magazine? Like a competing price guide or industry mag to Wizard publication. They would come poly-bagged with trading cards and one-off special comic books here and there. They're kind of neat. Now then, setting these aside. Checking my time here, seeing where I want to go. Probably breezing through these loose single issues real quick. Star Wars #1. This is backed by Marvel. I don't know what this is. If this is like a reprint. Star Wars. Okay. This looks like a continuation. This is not Star Wars 1977. This looks like something new I haven't read. The artwork looks pretty nice here. I don't know what this is about. This was Star Wars. Let's see here. March of 2015. So 3 years after, or maybe 2.5 years after Disney bought Lucasfilm. So I'm trying to find the page that shows the artist. They don't put it in the front. Do they put it toward the back? Okay, this actually does look like a very odd retelling of the first movie. I don't know anything about this. Can't find the page. It has the who did what section. Oh, here we go. Written by Jason Aaron, art by John Cassaday, coloring by Laura Martin, lettering by Chris Eliopoulos, cover artists Cassaday and Martin. Since assistant editor and editor Charles Beecham, Jordan D. White, executive editors C.B. Sobolski and Mike Martz, editor-in-chief Axel Alonso, chief creative officer Joe Quesada, publisher Dan Buckley for Lucasfilm, and we got the little Disney logo with Lucasfilm right there. I don't know anything about this. And we got Jabba the Hutt with Darth Vader walking up on him. We got Princess Leia #1. Star Wars Omnibus. So that's unusual. I don't know anything about that. Issue 1 of 6 of Star Wars Droids, Dark Horse Comics. You got some embossing here. You got not foil, but spiffy ink. I'm taking a guess this is part of the 90s trend of, 1994. A droid story centering on C-3PO and R2-D2. The one-off, or the only issue I have of that. 1 of 4 of Splinters of the Mind's Eye. 4 of 5 of Tales of the Jedi. All the loose little issues I have here. Classic Star Wars issue 1, Dark Horse Comics. Dark Horse is really killing it with some of their franchises. Empire Strikes Back Infinities, 1 of 4. Empire Strikes Back Infinities #2, #3, #4. Heir to the Empire, 2 of 6. It's odd that I only have issue 2 and not issue 1. I think I might have got that on a long box I got from somebody else. Han Solo at Star's End. That's neat because as I reach over to my novel of the Han Solo Adventures that has 3 books, Han Solo at Star's End, Han Solo's Revenge, and Han Solo and the Lost Legacy. This is like a comic book adaptation of Han Solo at Star's End. So those of you who read the early Star Wars adaptation novels from way back when, they got to work making adaptations of those books. There's issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3 of 3. I'm going to go back and reread those myself. Tales of the Jedi. Empire's End. Boba Fett. So I don't know where I got all these from. Tales of the Jedi 1, 2, 3. Those are some loose, oddball books that I've collected over the years. All right. I'm going to set these aside. Going to reread these later on. All right. Graphic novel time. Boba Fett, Enemy of the Empire. Before the events of A New Hope, Darth Vader employs the galaxy's greatest bounty hunter, Boba Fett, to find and retrieve a single small box, the contents of which could change the fate of the galaxy. But there's a catch. Vader trusts no one, and the truth of the box's mystery is too important to allow the bounty hunter to live. When Fett retrieves the prize, he finds himself the target of Vader's henchmen, and finally, in confrontation with the Dark Lord of the Sith himself. Also includes a hard-to-find 1997 Wizard Magazine exclusive Boba Fett #1/2. This was a pretty fun read because it's everybody's 2 favorite antagonists, Darth Vader and Boba Fett, squaring off essentially against one another. Story by John Wagner, pencils by Ian Gibson, John Nadeau, inks by Ian Gibson and Jim Amash. Colors by Perry McNamee and Brian Gregory. Lettering by Ellie DeVille. Cover art by Ken Kelly. Oops. That's cool. Ken Kelly artwork right there. For those of you who know who Ken Kelly is. Show off some of the interior artwork, which looks pretty neat. I won't spoil the story, but since this happens before the events of the first Star Wars movie, you kind of know that everybody survives. So this is Darth Vader hiring Boba Fett to track down something and deliver it back to Darth Vader. Pretty fun read. Now, let's see. Little oddball books here and there. You know, like Return of the Jedi novelization, Return of the Jedi in full color, the original comic book version, and small novel format, which is pretty neat. Then kind of an oddity among Star Wars properties. Alan Dean Foster's Splinter of the Mind's Eye. This was a pretty good read. This was a proposed sequel to the first Star Wars movie back when George Lucas just didn't know if Harrison Ford would come back to the franchise or even if Star Wars would catch on. As the back reads, stranded on a jungle planet, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia found themselves desperately racing Imperial stormtroopers to claim a gem that had mysterious powers over the Force. Luke Skywalker expected trouble when he volunteered to follow Princess Leia on her mission to Sarkarpus. These oddball planets and their names, to enlist the rebel underground in a battle against the Empire. But the farm boy from Tatooine hadn't counted on an unscheduled landing in the swamplands of Mimban, hadn't counted on any of the things they would find on that strange planet. Hidden on this planet was the Kyber crystal, a mysterious gem that would give the one who possessed it such powers of the Force that would be all but invincible. In the wrong hands, the crystal could be deadly. So Luke had to find this treasure and find it fast. Accompanied by R2-D2 and C-3PO, his two faithful droids, Luke and the princess set out for the Temple of Pomojima and a confrontation deep beneath the surface of an alien world with the most fearsome villain in the galaxy. And that cover right there just says it all. So I mentioned this because this is tied to the last graphic novel of the day, the last graphic novel of my little Star Wars celebration live stream. The comic book adaptation, or in this case, graphic novel adaptation of Splinter of the Mind's Eye, based on a novel by Alan Dean Foster. Let's see. Script and inks by Terry Austin. Pencils by Chris Sprouse. Coloring by James Sinclair. Cover by Duncan Fegredo. Very cool. Lettering by Steve Dutro. An introduction from Alan Dean Foster. Dark Horse Comics again. Dark Horse was killing it back in the day. Very good artwork. I mean, the characters actually look like the characters. They're flying along. They crash land on a swampy planet. I remember having read the novel some time ago, so I'm looking through this going, yeah, I remember that scene. Remember that scene as well. There's Darth Vader. Yeah, I won't flip through the whole thing. Anyway, a fun read, something I kind of recommend. Celebrating Star Wars in comic book form, but also, I mean, let's face it, we've got novels, all the things that over the years kept Star Wars alive, whether it be novel like The Heirs to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, Last Command by Timothy Zahn, the comic books that helped save Marvel Comics. All the things that made Star Wars part of the culture. Nice little bits of nostalgia to look back on and reflect upon. Okay. And checking the time. I'm up against a hard break right now, so I've got to end the live stream. Well, I got a few minutes. I can flip through technical journals. These are always fun to breeze through. I mean, any Star Wars aficionado, fan, Star Wars nerd, you probably already own these. As I flip the book around, toss the book around. There we go. Gently fold it back. We got the land speeder there. Luke's old land speeder. Docking Bay 94, Mos Eisley. Mos Eisley Cantina, layout of it. Java sail barge. Protocol droids. Astromech droids. So yeah, if you're a fan, chances are you already have these in your own little library. Technical Journal of, well, that was the Technical Journal of the Planet Tatooine, Volume 1. Star Wars Volume 2 Technical Journal is Technical Journal of the Imperial Forces. Let's see here. Okay. Star Destroyer. Okay. Let me see if I can get this in camera. Okay. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Something that says this is a big ship. I like that they show all the little levels. So, yep. Oh, there I am trying to gently fold this back in place before I have an on-air incident. Folding achieved. TIE fighters, TIE interceptors. This, I have no idea what this is. Oh, this is Vader's life systems. You get the gist of it. Technical manual, technical stuff. All right. So this has been fun. I've got to, I have to end things right here because I'm up against the hour. I want to thank you all who joined me. I'll shout out before I end the stream. I scroll up the, actually, I will go here. And then I will do, what am I going to do? I'm going to do this right here. There we go. All right. So I want to shout out everyone who joined me today. Thank you all so much. First out of the gate again, Tina, the Naughty Dragon. Hello there. Followed by Melted Copper. And then Gap After Dark. Quite enjoyed seeing you all here today. Awesome stream, fun memories. Have a good one, everyone. Good show. Thank you. Well, thank you all for joining me today. For those who catch me on a replay, or for those who are just lurking out there, wondering what the show is going to be all about, that has been enjoyable. Kind of going back down memory lane myself, just kind of reliving those memories from a bygone era. Let's see, what am I doing Monday? My Monday live stream? I don't know. That's open. Wednesday, I might be talking about some new to me TV shows. And of course, on Tuesday and Friday afternoons, you can find me on Comic Relief Crusaders show. And then next Saturday, another comic book stream. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for a comic book stream next Saturday. But until next time, everyone, thank you all for joining me today. Have a great rest of your Saturday and a great Saturday evening. Until next time, everyone, go read a good comic book.